This video's on patterns of addiction. A lot of people who are addicts, they need help, and they think that by helping others that they'll get their help. But then they end up just giving and giving. There's a woman, I'm gonna post a link to her page. She's autistic. She was diagnosed late in life. A lot of people who are addicted to drugs and other substances, they have particular patterns. I'm going to give you some examples of real people. There's a woman named Angela. she she's addicted to meth. So she calls me when she has a problem and I listen. She loves calling me because of that. She says, "Sean, if you have a problem, call me." So I do. And when I call her, she dumps all of her problems on me. Everything that's going wrong in her life. And she's talking nonstop because she's on drugs. The same thing over and over again, something you guys say that I do. I do that. The reason that I accused Shannon of being on meth and called her a crackhead, I'm sorry, my nose is running, I was crying a bit, is because she does the same things that Angela does. But I spent 2 months almost with Shannon. She'd get abusive towards her boyfriend and then complain to me about how terrible her boyfriend is. She'd make promises to her boyfriend that she didn't keep, and she'd come to me and want justification. She'd want me to verify that it's okay that she didn't keep her word. The problem is, the word that she gave him, he depended on. He's a father. He's also not an addict. He's not an alcoholic. She is. The thing with the patterns is that these people who are addicted, that also want to help people, they oftentimes don't end up helping people. They end up bossing people around and just dumping their problems. Now, they don't see it that way. When they're dumping their problems on somebody, it's them telling people what is going on so that these people don't have any expectations of them. And then when somebody else does the same thing, it's dumping problems on them. I'm not any different. None of you are any different. See, that's not just an addict trait. That's just a human trait. Your problems are real problems. Everybody else's problems are drama. When it's your family, though, you see it a bit differently, depending on how much you care about your family. When you have problems and you see them as big and huge, and your family is there to help you with it, and they don't treat it like it's drama, they see it as an actual problem and they're willing to help you, then you live in a different scenario. Angela, she lives with her aunt. The other day when she called me, I recorded it. She wanted to talk the whole time. That's what Shannon Alvarado does too. She says, "Hey, I'll listen to you," and then I start to speak, and she just has to talk nonstop and say the same thing over and over and over. And then she doesn't hear what it is that I'm saying, so I have to say it again for her so that she hears it, but she doesn't because she's got her own internal monologue that's more important. when Shannon said that she was going to help me, it always turned into me listening to her talking about how terrible her boyfriend is, or how terrible David is, the guy who was helping her work on her house, or how terrible her daughter is, or how terrible her ex is. And basically, I end up spending all of my time being a therapist, listening to her, trying not to be judgmental. But 2 months of it, over and over again, even when she said that she was going to make time for me, it's always about her because she's addicted to that chemical, and her own internal monologue is the only thing that's important. Trying to explain that to Dan Faber was damn near impossible because he would only text. And Shannon, she's not the person to talk to. The problem is that she was one of the few people who actually was trying. She wasn't a wingnut like that Layla Johnson lady. She's just an addict. And she wants some compassion. She wants someone to have some compassion for her and to understand her. And what doesn't register in her mind is that I heard her. I heard her the first 30 times. I heard her the first 80 times. Now, the things that she doesn't like people saying to her, well, she says to me when I try to get just a few minutes to say what it is that I need to say, but she has to interrupt me every sentence to tell me how to think and how to feel. And she doesn't think or feel that way, not in her own life. Those things that she's telling me, they don't fix her problems. Why would they fix mine? But then again, I'm not an addict. Now with Angela, she has tried playing it off on several occasions since she came back in contact with me. She tells me that she's been sober a year. And then a few hours later, she tells me that she's been sober for 6 weeks. And then a couple of days later, she tells me she's been sober for almost a week, and I should be proud of her. I've heard this out of her and Andrew and so many other people. And their own problems, they tell me about them. But they have different neural pathways than I do. While I am stuck remembering everything that they say, they don't remember what they said 30 seconds ago. Natalie was different. Natalie heard me. She understood me. Angela, she tells me she loves me. And I love her. I do. I love Aunt B. I love all of these people who I say I love you to. But I love them differently than they love me because they're all on chemicals. Now, don't get me wrong. Aunt B is the one with the valid excuse to be on those chemicals. She has rheumatoid arthritis. So, the medications that they have her on, as severe of pain as she is in, she needs to be on those medications to not be in constant pain. But also for addicts, it's the same way for them. It's different because they're in emotional pain. And emotional pain is different from physical pain. I withstand the physical pain because I'm autistic. I can take more pain than most. But also, I've got so many friends that are addicts that started off with a back injury, which is how I started off. And they took the medications, they took the drugs, and they only give you the drugs for so long before they cut you off. They give you those drugs just long enough for you to become addicted to them, for you to need them to not feel the pain, for you to need those drugs in order for your brain to have that dopamine drip. Jamie's the same too. But they always end up dumping their problems on me. They say, I'll listen to you, Sean. And I want to believe them because they experienced a lot of things that I experience, but it's also for different reasons. I experience these things because people don't understand autism and they don't want to. They just want to punish it. They think they can punish it out of me. They can't. It's not like being on a drug where you can just quit being autistic, where you can quit being autistic cold turkey. And then people want to drug it out of you. Here, take these medications that'll fix it. And it doesn't work that way. See, if somebody has everything in the world, they have a roof over their head, they have a loving family that's there. And they're still depressed. Yeah, maybe they need medications. But if you have real problems, and those problems are not being fixed, then it's not medications that you need. It's actual help, not pretty words. Addicts are real big on the AA words. These are words that are supposed to help empower them to get to the next day. But then again, when Angela called me the other day, she was trying to tell me that she's willing to listen, and then she just kept on talking nonstop. And every time I tried to speak, it was her trying to fill in empty space. It may take me a second or two to speak, especially when you rapid fire so many questions. But she's on meth, and I knew it. She has a girlfriend, and her girlfriend was over, and her girlfriend just wants to do drugs. So she spent the whole night before telling me that she's sober and she's taking care of this friend who's trying to recover. And then she made that phone call. And when she made that phone call, I went, thing in my head that clicked is, oh my God, she's doing meth. And then she got a hold of me later and she said that she took a Xanax, and that's what it is. And she kept on changing her story and changing her story and changing her story, telling me she's going to listen to me, and then she's dumping these multiple different stories on me. And finally, she admitted that this girl and her are going out, and that she was doing meth with her and cocaine, and basically that she had been bullshitting me for 2 days. Last night, she dumped all of her problems on me, all of them, and she was trying to be funny by posting up something, 9 different phone numbers, about post up the funniest picture you can put up, and a whole bunch of people just tore her ass. Like, who the fuck does that? You know, this girl is trying to have some happiness in her life. She's an addict, though, so they typed a bunch of mean stuff at her. I didn't like to see that. You know, she's trying to have some happiness in her life, but it's also 4 o'clock in the morning. And so today she calls me, and all the things that she hates people telling her, because it makes her feel bad and it makes her want to use drugs. She's telling me those things today. She said, Sean, I have 10 minutes, so call me. And I called her, and she's talking nonstop. She's obviously on meth still. If she can't stay off the meth for her own family, she's not going to be able to help me. Just like Shannon, she can't stay off the alcohol for her own family. She's dependent upon that chemical. For me, I don't have that chemical. For me, I would rather not do those chemicals. But also, I have to understand that, number one, I identify with these people because they get treated the same as I do. But number two, I have to distance myself from them because there are different reasons for it. society doesn't accept me because they think I'm on drugs. Or think that I should be on drugs, like drugs will fix it. So it's difficult for me because I don't find acceptance. I have people who tell me they accept me and tell me they understand. And they don't. Only autistic people understand. That's why I connected with Ken and Leah's son, but I didn't connect with Ken and Leah. Their assumptions after reading it and learning about autism, because Leah does spend a lot of time learning about autism. But then she uses that information to blame her son for everything. She missed the point of that. She missed the point of what the freeze loop is. She missed the point of what all of these different things that she watches these videos on are about. For me, I noticed these patterns. I accused Shannon of being on meth because she talks so rapidly and so fast. That's because wine is her coping mechanism. It does the same thing to her that meth does to somebody who's addicted to meth. For some people, the alcohol calms them down. For somebody who goes through a whole bottle, it does the opposite. She gets one of those bottles every single day. Her boyfriend is in the routine of going and getting it for her because if he goes and gets it, then he gets some brownie points and she might not be screaming and angry at him. But she's going to get screamy and angry at him because she has expectations of him. He's her boyfriend, so he is expected to know certain things and to do certain things and to take her abuse. He owes it to her. I didn't have to take the abuse. I knew how to interact with her in order for that not to be turned on me. I knew what to do and what to say so that she would not turn on me because she's an addict and addicts do that. Now, Angela, she said those things that she doesn't like people to tell her. Meanwhile, she's got people in her life that she sees every day. She's got an aunt who takes great care of her and accepts the fact that she's an addict. For me, it's the fact that Angela keeps lying about it, keeps telling me that it's a way that it isn't. Shannon did the same thing. She's a closet alcoholic, but she doesn't closet alcoholic it. She just, you find all these bottles all over the house, and she says they're from her ex-boyfriend, or her ex-husband was the addict, and talks about how she had to sneak bottles when they moved from, she went to Colorado to help her ex move, and she was talking about having to sneak the bottles out. She's drinking this stuff every day, and she's blaming it on others. It's other people's fault that she has to drink. It's her daughter's fault that she has to drink. But she's not an alcoholic. It's her ex that was the alcoholic. For Angela, she blames this woman who is her girlfriend now for feeding her these drugs. No, she has access to those drugs because she allowed this person into her house. And then she treats this woman who she invited into her house like crap because this woman doesn't do what she wants when she wants. And the first clue that she was on meth was actually the night that that woman showed up because Angela's complaining that she wants to get laid. And how badly that she wants me to be there to see her so she can hug me and hold me. And she really needs to get laid. And she really needs to get laid. And she just keeps pushing that. That's not how I love. But then, when she calls me because she wants to help me, she talks nonstop. When I call her because she tells me to, she berates me and belittles me and treats me like I'm some sort of terrible person. Meanwhile, last night, the whole thing running through my head is Angela's on drugs and she was going to help me, and I can't accept her help because she's on drugs. She won't help because she's on drugs. With Shannon, she keeps telling me she's OCD. I'm like, no, that's not OCD. Or no, ADHD. And I'm like, no, that's not ADHD. I mean, I wanted to believe her, but when I got there, I realized that she was completely full of shit. But she's an addict. She doesn't want to admit that she's an addict. Angela admitted she was an addict, but she tried playing it off like she's been sober a while. And she hasn't been. She overamped. And I had a conversation with her about that because she couldn't hold her keys. She couldn't hardly stand up. She kept on dropping everything. Her ex came by to drop her son off, and she freaks out when her son isn't there, and she copes with it by doing drugs. So he wouldn't leave her son there with her because she was on drugs. She overamped. She's not a gacker. A gacker is somebody who shoots up. They do that when they overamp. Somebody who's overamped that smokes it, they drop things. They have involuntary muscle spasms, kind of like having Tourette syndrome. Tourette syndrome is, it's more like, it's more infrequent. It's a different type of addiction. So she's telling me about how she couldn't hold her stuff and telling me that it was because she had a headache and then because this other person had stressed her out all night. So last night, while I'm driving, she keeps on texting me that it's important. So I listen to her and I pull over, and it's not important. I mean, it is to her. So I try to stop and listen. But then when I stop to listen, she isn't there anymore. She's off busy doing something. So then I start driving again. I get probably about a mile down the road, and she's texting me again. Kind of like Shannon. She doesn't want to admit that she still has a problem. Shannon won't admit she has a problem at all. And I'm not allowed to say anything, even though this addiction is the reason that she's abusive. And I have to take that abuse, or she's not going to help me. She's going to blow up at me. She's going to treat me the way that she treats her boyfriend, or the way that Angela treats her girlfriend. When I say I love you, it's not chemical induced. It's not sexually motivated. And when I say that I'll listen to you, I do. There are a lot of other patterns that go along with addiction, but the point is that an addict can have everything that an autistic person needs in order to function, and an addict still won't function because an addict needs the drugs. So an addict will tell you, I have all of those things and I still have problems. So no, Sean, if you had those things, no, it wouldn't make your life better. Well, I can tell you from experience that those things do make my life better because I'm not an addict. The things that I need, I legitimately need. These people, they have their needs met, but they have that additional need of the drug. And that's a recurring factor in all of these situations that I'm in. Not everybody is addicted to drugs. Some people are addicted to control or power. Like my dad, Atlanta. Jerry is addicted to penis. She she goes crazy if she's not having sex with somebody. But she's also addicted to the relationship part of it. She has to have a boyfriend. She can't function without one. She huddles on the couch and cries like I do. But she can't go without a relationship, so she doesn't leave her current boyfriend until she has another one lined up. And she tells me those same pretty things that she doesn't want to hear herself. Not everybody is addicted to the same thing, but an addiction is an addiction. Somebody's basic needs, that's entirely different. That's not an addiction, that's a need. In order for an autistic person to function, there are particular needs that need to be met. Being treated like an animal or an addict, that's the opposite of health. I'm having a panic attack because my needs are not met. Not because I need drugs, not because I need control or power, but because I'm not allowed to have my own body. My body is not my own. That's something that autistic people learn. People can do whatever they want to you because you are autistic. And you're automatically assumed wrong because they don't want to get an education. Nobody wants to get an education on it, except for people who want to manipulate and control us. So Angela, she called, she said that she had 10 minutes. She was texting me, so I called her. And she can't stay off the drugs, so she can't help me. I don't want to hold her. I don't want to be held by her. Because she'll use that to hurt me. She'll use that to manipulate me. She'll tug on my heartstrings because she has that need. When she's drugged out, she wants sex. When she's not drugged out, she wants the drug or she wants attention. Until she gets the drug, she needs that attention. What I need is positive attention. People who are not on drugs, people who are not on alcohol, people who are not stuck in that pattern of addiction. People who say, I'll listen to you, and then actually do. But a lot of people that say that they'll listen, they listen differently. They listen with the intent of responding. They have a pre-programmed response in their head that they're going to spout out no matter what you say. They have a pre-programmed response to throw at you. Not paying any attention to the fact that it's not those pre-programmed responses that helped them as human beings in their actual life. It's not the Alcoholics Anonymous book and its pretty words that helped them. Somebody had to write that book. There are people at those meetings. Things of that nature. Matty Boa tried telling me I should go to a Alcoholics Anonymous meeting or a Narcotics Anonymous meeting because that's what was helping her. When I quit drinking, I went to one Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. One. I listened to those fucking whiners for a goddamn hour. And I realized that I'm not somebody who's going to go doing that. Those people going in there and talking about that every week when they could be going out and doing something fun, going hiking, enjoying the great outdoors with their friends. My friends get to do that with their loved ones. I get to see it. I get to see them posting up on Facebook about them going hiking and them going on vacation. And they do it with others. They do it with people. I have to do it alone. I don't get invited to go do those things. And because of my differences, because of Tourette's, because of Asperger's, because of OCD, and people's bad assumptions about it, and their stigmatisms, and the fact that so many people are on drugs this day and age. When you got Tourette's syndrome, you have to contend with so many people that think you're on drugs. And then I get nervous because I know how people treat me. And I'm not allowed to get nervous because then my Tourette's starts coming out. And when my Tourette's starts coming out, people start treating me differently. Like I'm on drugs. And I'm not. For these people, everything in the world won't help them because they're addicted to the drugs. It doesn't even occur to Shannon that all of the shit that she does every single day to her boyfriend, her son is there to witness that every single day. Her daughter is autistic and reacts to that in a negative way. It's because it's negativity, and we are highly susceptible to that. When we're in a positive environment, we're positive. When we're in a negative environment, we're very much trying to stay positive, but you just won't stop being negative. And then we get stuck in that whole negativity thing, and we're the bad guys for being negative, despite the fact that you're negative and you don't see a problem with you being that way. And it doesn't connect in your brain that you being that way is the reason that we're that way. It's a pattern. I'm autistic. I notice patterns.